Welcome to the Your Company Health podcast. I'm your host, Andre Wright, founder and CEO of the Wright Consult Digital Marketing Agency, and also the creator of the Patient Buzz program. The goal of this podcast is to highlight healthcare professionals, their journey, and how they're making the world a better place. Let's dive in. Today we have a special guest, Dr. Aaron Bryant. Dr. Bryant is an experienced healthcare practitioner, a professor, and also the COO of Pulse Point Path. So to kick things off, Doctor, welcome, and how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Every day is a new day, and yeah, this is good. Thank you.
All right, perfect. And to get things going, I just want you to tell us your story. How just walk us through your journey as a professor and a medical practitioner.
Yeah, my story is pretty lengthy, but we'll keep it short. I grew up in Compton, California, Southern Cal area. People know it because of like rappers, NWA, all that stuff, actors like Anthony Anderson, et cetera. So that was where I was raised. And so that environment, gang-related, et cetera, was what I was experiencing. However, I had some parents that wanted us to try to get outside of that and try to see something better, because my mom was raised in Southside Chicago, and my dad obviously was Compton, where we were at. So both of them, knowing the surroundings and environment, realized that we need to not raise our children there. So my upbringing was in the Northern Cal area. And then from there, I took advantage of the military. Both my brother and I went in the military. I served as an Airborne Rangers, Special Ops unit, did that, came back from the military and tried to acclimate myself to civilian status. And I had obviously the foundation of education was there because my parents had education. It was important. So despite other issues that we might get into, education was something that I was able to maintain. And I did that, continued my education, getting my associate's degrees. I got a couple of those, my bachelor's. I got an executive MBA. I was in the consulting field for many, many years. You mentioned the doctor part. Well, that came about because over years and years and years, I was an expert project manager for a long period of time, and I did it on the technical side, in IT. And somewhere, somehow, in one of my roles, I started working with healthcare and working with a lot of medical facilities, et cetera. And I somehow shifted into that realm and got put on various projects, and Obamacare came down, Covered California came down, was part of that. And then I got recruited by another organization where I worked with Kaiser Permanente and worked my way there. And somehow I ended up going into med school because of a friend. And, this is after my PhD. And so one thing led to another, but, it's just a field that I was, I'm kind of a hybrid of my parents, because my dad was the tech and my mom was the nurse going into therapy. And so I think I just kind of piggybacked off of them, subconsciously. And here I am now. I spend my time part with as a COO with Pulse Point, and then I travel and perform my medical skill sets in other countries, specifically Mexico. So yeah, and then I have a developmental coach. I have my own practice, so I basically do that, help clients with mental health, which is one of my expertise.
So, Doctor, with such a wide scale of knowledge and great experience across the board, what are you passionate about?
Golf. I say that jokingly, but it's absolutely true. Golf is for me. I think what I am passionate about is my pursuit of helping others. As a veteran, a disabled veteran, with a lot of various challenges because of what I've seen and done, I feel that without getting into any theology, that there's a higher purpose for a lot of people. Some of us have gifts, some of us have purposes, some of us develop it, and figure it out. and I'm still here. So I think that there's some things that I'm good at, and I'm quite good at it. And one of those is how I'm able to communicate with people and be able to support and help. I mean, I've been a professor and I've been teaching university level education since like 2009, I think. And my credentials and my teaching skills have always been high. My responses, my feedback from students, my accolades, and so that has transitioned into where I'm now doing one-on-one coaching and working with individuals to help them improve, specifically in the mental health arena. As a developmental coach, we kind of broaden it out, and I focus on much more deeper internal things. And again, tying it to mental health, which is sort of the common denominator, that's where my expertise is. So that is what I'm passionate about because it's a very complex area. It's something that I'm continuously researching, which I've learned from my PhD, is to be able, that's where we developed our, skill sets and researching, quantitative, qualitative, understanding, all of that. So for me, I am excited to do it. I enjoy it. So even in my books, I talk about it. I mean, I just enjoy it. So whatever and how much I can learn and then turn it around and deliver it, it's really rewarding. And that reward helps me as well. So that's why I'm constantly spewing it out and constantly helping people as much as I can.
Wow. So, as you know, we spoke before the podcast here that I'm an avid golfer too. So I'm passionate about that too. So you're not alone. So so we're alike. We're alike. But doctor, I'm really intrigued about your experience in the healthcare space because as you know that's where I'm in and we help providers to scale their businesses. So if you could say some of the big mistakes you've seen through your experience, some big mistakes providers have made in scaling their businesses, what are some of those mistakes you've seen?
So, my working areas have been in larger organizations. I've come in as both a consultant as well as working as an employee. And one of the things that I've seen, well, quite a few things, I should say, and you've asked for three. If I was to go into the top three is silos performances. You have different departments working independently. I think that's a big area of concern because although we have different fields of medical practices, there's still a common denominator of how we perform healthcare. I believe that there are some definitely improvement in that areas, especially since I've kind of shifted. But however, one of the things we're doing at PulsePoint is that we are going into these particular arenas, working with our clients, and therefore we're looking at some of their gaps, looking at some of their issues, their inefficiencies. So that's one of the reasons why, along with my partners, we have been pretty excited by doing that. So that has been one thing. Some of the other things has been in their marketing abilities. I think a lot of people, I'll just use a general term of people, get overloaded with all of the healthcare and all the stuff coming at them. And a lot of them get fairly intimidated by it. A lot of there is a lot of marketing out there, but the marketing can be a little overwhelming. And I think we need to get a little more specific with the niches. I think we need to give them a little more precise direction and how they can be able to communicate back. One of the things I was so proud of with my previous employer was that we started providing the ability to communicate by video to the doctors directly. That was huge. People didn't realize how valuable that was. In addition to that, my previous employer also provided immediate response on the doctor care. So the patient had the opportunity to actually evaluate it. And that immediately went to an evaluation of that doctor and how they took care of that customer. So that removed a lot of burden from the patient, the person immediately because they felt they could actually have kind of like we're doing right now, a one-on-one communication. But taking a step back again, when you're first trying to choose and the opportunities and all that, it could be really, really congested in the head for some people. And I actually experienced that myself. So I think that's actually a first person answer. And one other thing I would say would probably be I think it's a confusion, and this is a little bit above my pay grade, but I think there's a financial aspect that could be really cumbersome with a lot of people. I can't go too much into it because, again, this is outside my skill sets, but I think that's something that healthcare organizations need to look at, and being able to work with a patient slash person to be able to understand it a little bit more, what their opportunities are, benefits, what's covered. I hear it a lot that they didn't understand this or don't understand that, which one, what insurance to leverage. So financial is always a concern for people. So if we can figure out how to provide some more proactive information, more specific, if you're a private practice, delegate a resource for them within your internal team. If you bigger organizations do a little bit better, but unfortunately, because we have HIPAA and all these other regulations, sometimes can be difficult. But I believe, again, we're making strides. One of the reasons why we have certain, conferences and such like Healthcare Amplified, which is going to be in Orlando, that I'm speaking at, you're speaking at, a few others. I think these type of efforts will be greatly necessary for a lot of our healthcare organizations. So as we continue to grow, and this or things like the summit will continue to reach out, more people will gain ideas and strategies to improving.
Excellent, excellent. And Doctor, we were talking before, and you brought up a good point in terms of there needs to be more niches in marketing and for specific providers. And as we we're talking earlier, and I mentioned about the patient-centric strategy in the sense that doctors should collaborate with their marketing companies more to craft a more patient-centric storytelling or content, so that is unique to get the ideal customer, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just one size fits all, marketing, but tailor it so that it's unique to that specific provider, so they can get the right patient and scale their business better. So definitely great observation there. And Doctor, in the interest of time, I know you touched on Pulse Point Path. Talk to us more about that.
So this, we're a team. We have 3 partners and we have 12 advisors. And the unique setup of this is that every person on this team comes from different skill sets. And these different skill sets are professionals that have already proven themselves at the highest level. When you go to our website, which is pulsepointpath.com, very simple, you'll see the bios, you'll see the years of experience there. I mean, we are exceeding a couple of decades of experience in almost every category. And these levels of expertise cover from marketing to financial, healthcare performance, efficiency, project planning, et cetera. And all were vetted, all were validated based on their backgrounds, their skill set, et cetera, and then was actually brought together to create this entity. And we meet regularly every week. We have all these different tools and resources. And our goal and objective is to reach out to these medical health tech companies and firms and be able to work with them to improve their capabilities. Every year, we recognize a lot of different firms out there. We provide various awards from community to innovation. And I'm actually part of the committee that looks at that. And as a COO, I couldn't be more prouder. I mean, some of the technology, some of the health tech practices that I see is pretty impressive. And I had no idea. It's like, I actually enjoy being on the committee because I get to read the backgrounds. I get to read about what they're doing. Our evaluation process goes in much more detail, but I am so impressed by some of the stuff that's out there, and I had no idea. Like, for instance, there's this particular company, actually one of our awardees, is for women, and wear them around their chest area and allows them to feel more comfortable when they go in for their various exams. So things such as that, sometimes it's like just common sense, but yet somebody took it a step further. And that woman-owned firm, I mean, is doing big things to make change the way, give women, a level of comfort.
This episode is brought to you by the new book, Visibility, Digital Marketing Secrets. You can get it on Amazon or AndreEWright.com.
Give women confidence and opportunity. So, we recognize them for what they've been able to do and their performance, but we give about 6 awards, I believe, and we're very proud of them as well.
Yeah, and that's awesome because there's so many companies out there doing great things, and sometimes as a company owner, and you feel like you're not getting the recognition. So what you guys are doing, it's commendable, and I think it will go a far way. And I'm looking for even greater things from your company. So, Doctor, will you tell us about what was the best business advice you've ever received?
So the best business advice I received was not actually business related. But me being who I am, I didn't take it face value. Let's put it that way. I took it as a life lesson or a life advice, and I apply it to everything. So when I went into the military, right before I went in, like I had already signed my letter, I was going in, I got into a motorcycle accident. I had a crotch rocket, and I was leaving work late at night, black ice, lost the bike, slid, severe bruised tailbone. Luckily, I didn't break anything, but it was severely bruised, bedridden for weeks and weeks. But I was already heading to the military. So for the 2 months or the month and a half or whatever I'm waiting, I was putting on weight because I couldn't do much of anything, and I'm putting on weight. So when I go into the service, I'm definitely out of shape. I barely get past processing where you have to do 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, and then I think that's it. And then as long as you can do that. And trust me, when I say barely, I mean, I barely was able to do it. But I get to basic and I'm still fairly chubby and out of shape. So this Staff Sergeant Heilig, I actually put him a dedication in my first book. And he told me something during our PT where we're running around the track. And I'm so out of shape, like I barely can jog, but I'm trying to jog, but I'm ready to stop and walk. And he comes up to me and he says, if you quit, it will only get easier. So I'm thinking about that, meaning don't quit to walk. Just keep jogging it out. Don't quit. Because once you do it, it just gets easier to just stop doing it. But if you keep pushing yourself, you'll continue to get that, the jog, and the jog will increase. And before you know it, I'm running. And sure enough, that's what happened. I end up and I'm getting it back in shape and blah, blah, blah. And then I finally, long story short, I'm a Ranger, special ops, and about 4 months later. I would have never made it. I probably would have never if he hadn't said those words. So to quit something, was definitely something that I've learned that I cannot do ever. My personality didn't support it. I'm an A-type personality. I have background in martial arts. I got background in all these different things. So it's not something I'm accustomed to, but I was at that point ready to give up on something so difficult. Being in the military was so challenging. It was something out of my norm. The closest I came was a Cub Scout when I was young. And I don't think I really enjoyed that. So I wasn't a camper. I was a city boy. So going out in the woods and doing stuff, getting my nails dirty, it was just not something for me. But applying that to future business aspects, applying that to everything is like being able to continue to push forward. When it becomes challenging, becomes difficult, you don't give up. You look to your left, you look to your right, your flanks, and say in the military, if that person can do it, you can do it better. If that person can do it, you can achieve it. You don't allow failure to be an option if somebody else has already done it. So you mentioned about my education, my background. Yeah, it wasn't easy, but I'm seeing my fellow students are doing it. They're studying. They're able to get it. People have already gotten degrees. People are already doing these things. Well, then that means it's possible. So if it's possible, then what is holding me back? And I wasn't going to allow that even after the military, after when I started understanding my own personal challenges from being a veteran, I just was not going to allow myself to be defeated. And that's something that I can control. So that was something that was my lesson, even though I wasn't business centric at the time. It definitely applied to everything I do, including business.
You're right. You're right. Don't quit. Don't quit. And that's excellent advice. It's all about tenacity, persistence, and always, pushing and striving for your goal. And even as a business owner myself, I mean, some days you wake up, you feel like you just don't want to do it. But, by just keep going on, then the next day, you get this new account and you feel better. So by just constantly moving and keep going, there are a lot of opportunities out there. So that's great advice. That's great advice. And thinking about, I know we're strapped for time, but I was reading somewhere where Colonel Sanders, the man who started KFC, right?
Uh-huh. I used to work for him. Not him specifically. I'm not that old, but I definitely worked for KFC. That was my first job.
Oh, that's your first job. But
yeah.
His story was that he was always trying to grow KFC. Right up until when he was, I think, late 50s, he got his break. He got his break.
Right. I heard about that.
So it's all about persistence. What if he had quit, when he got his first turned down, or people are saying, hey, this is no good, So that's a great life lesson about, being persistent. And as you mentioned, it can be, it goes for, all walks of life. So great advice there. And Doctor, we're basically at the end, but I want you to, I know you have a book coming out. I want you to talk to us about your new book.
Yeah, so my emphasis is a mental health advisor, mental health advocate, as a developmental coach is mental health, obviously, that based on title. So I titled my second book, Mental Health. I have a first book called Permission to Heal. That book is a little more of a nonfiction aspect. And, the elements of nonfiction and fiction in my books are blurred because I like to touch on this and then I touch on that, but I apply myself into these things. So you get a lot of transparency from me, but it does focus on what is important. And this book is a very difficult book to write because it goes into some personal things, but it's guidance for others who are having challenges. It gives them tools relating to challenges. It gives them options, things to think about. And at the same time, I try to keep it very light. It's a very light reading. It's from ages of 12 and up can read this. I specifically wrote it as a conversational book. So it's got a little humor in it. I like to apply that. But I think what's really important to take away is that if you are having certain issues and challenges, this book is definitely something that could be a starting point for you to start recognizing some options and what you can do. In relation to that, if you need more information, it's on my personal website, which is draaronpbryant.com. And I have the information on there, but the book's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. It's like on, I don't know, like 12 different platforms out there. So I'm proud of that. So far, it's doing pretty well. I haven't seen any negative responses so far, but it's like I said, it's a conversational piece, easy to read. I didn't write it for the purpose of making money. Honestly, it's just literally for me to give out the information. The only reason why I have to charge is because the distribution people charge me. So I gotta balance it out.
Yeah, I understand. So I have a book of myself, and I understand about that piece. So yeah. I completely understand. So, but definitely. So you mentioned the website. So if someone is listening or watching and they want to learn more about you, they go to that website, or how is the best way to contact you?
Best way is definitely Dr. Bryant, Dr. Aaron P. Bryant. Just go to the website, draaronpbryant.com. There's a message bot there, my contact information there, which is contact at Dr. Aaron P. Bryant. Everything's pretty much the same, just like it's seated in your Zoom thing. Just no dots, just write it straight out. But you can reach me, and if you're somebody who needs guidance, developmental coaching is a more, like I mentioned earlier, is broad. However, the characterizations behind mental health could be interpersonal, it could be relationship related, it could be career related, it could be just focusing on yourself. So I do categorize it. I provide assistance in these areas, but I promise you, we're going to go into a deeper realm that's going to be related to why you might not be achieving what it is you're trying to achieve. It's not just like a life coach where you say, well, I'm trying to get that promotion. Let's focus on that. It's going to be a much deeper because, trying to understand yourself to be able to achieve just that promotion. Well, why is it that just that promotion? Why didn't it come naturally? What is it that we need to do to achieve why did you even have to call me in the first place? So these are the things that are really beneficial and one of the passions that I love because I did it to myself. I had to take 10 steps back to be able to understand why this happened, why that happened, why did this happen in my life? It wasn't just what's there in front of you. You got to go back. And I even had to go back even further than most. So it's so important for people to be able to get that understanding and that foundation. And then we go ahead and work forward.
Sounds good. And Doctor, that sounds like a good read. I'll definitely, take a look at it. And so thanks again, Doctor, for jumping on the podcast. I had a blast. And I know our listeners and viewers, they got some great things from it too. So until next time.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found this information useful. So please go to our website at yourcompanyhealth.com for more, and also like us on and share this episode on social media. We'd love for you to leave us a review on wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, see you then.